Dorks. It is the Turtle Dork back with a new movie review. So this is for the new Spike Lee joint, BlackKklansman. So this film, just to give you a little bit of the synopsis, this is a film that's based on a true story about a man named Ron Stallworth. Now this happens in the 70s. I think it's right after the Vietnam War, where Ron Stallworth joins, he signs up to become a police officer for the Colorado Springs Police Department. And once he becomes an officer, he shortly after that starts an investigation into the Ku Klux Klan, into that chapter in Colorado Springs, and he infiltrates them by impersonating a white man over the phone. And then Adam Driver, who plays a character named Flip, he does the in-person meetings with the Klan. And so between the two of them, they basically combine to create this one person that the Klan believes is going to be a new recruit for them. So they're basically doing this just to kind of get, some more information about the Klan, get some intel on them, seeing if they do pose a threat. So with that being said, this film, I thought with Spike Lee to me, with this film is in top form. I think you can put this in the upper echelon of his career with the films like Do the Right Thing and Malcolm X and 25th Hour and Inside Man, movies like that. I think this is right up there with those films. Some of the things I really enjoyed about this film, I think tonally, Spike Lee does a great job of being able to balance a lot of different tones, to balance the comedy, to balance the drama, to balance the suspense, and just to balance the horrific nature of what this story is, and really diving into this world. And it gives you an unflinching look at what the Klan, specifically this chapter in Colorado Springs, was doing at this time. I think the performances that Spike gets out of his cast in this movie is phenomenal. This might be some of the best performances collectively as a cast that I've seen all year round. John David Washington, I thought, gives a superb performance. It's just so layered with his tenacity to really go after this case and the stakes that the personal stakes that he has in this. He's extremely funny as well. For me, but the standout performance for me was Adam Driver. I thought Adam Driver gave such a great nuanced performance. Same was on the level of John David Washington, where it has a very layered, complex performance. But to see Adam Driver and his arc as a Jewish American and his place in this whole situation, and how that comes to fruition, I thought I thought Spike really nailed that and hit that home. But some of the Klansmen, there's one, the character name is Felix, and I was looking for the actor's name, that I couldn't find his name on IMDb at the moment, but he's the Klansman that is kind of skeptical of Ron Stallworth, the Adam Driver version of him, when he meets them in person. And he is a scary dude. He's a scary guy in this movie. Also speaking to the cast, Topher Grace. I thought Topher Grace was amazing, and that was pitch perfect casting. When you look at side-by-side photos, just the look of David Duke at that time and looking at Topher Grace, he was definitely able to kind of capture that look. But then just the performance that Topher Grace gives, I thought, he's very kind of buttoned up, and he's a bit likable and charming, but you know that underneath that there's some seediness, and there is a demonstrous person underneath all that, and you can always feel that anytime he's on screen. And I thought Topher Grace did a great job of bringing that to life. Spike does some interesting things, and I don't know if people can kind of look at this as a negative or a positive, but I kind of like how he lets a lot of the scenes in this movie breathe. There's a sequence with Corey Hawkins, who plays a character, Kwame Ture, and he gives this speech at the Black Student Union. And I like the fact that Spike lets that scene play out all the way through without editing it down or cutting it or turning into like a montage sequence. He lets that whole speech play out, because as he is speaking to the people in that room, I feel like he's also speaking to the audience as well. And you're hanging on to every word that he is saying. And Corey Hawkins is great in that moment. You also get a little bit of that at the end of the film too, with there's a story that is told by Harry Belafonte, and the way he juxtaposed that with the coronation of these new recruits from the KKK, and I just thought that the juxtaposition of him telling that story about what happened to this one kid in 1916 and how that came out of the film Birth of a Nation, and showing the Klan going through the baptism and the coronation of their new recruits, and then ultimately having them watch the film The Birth of a Nation, was just so powerful, absolutely so powerful. And then I guess we really can't talk about, we can't not talk about this film and how it is relevant to what is actually happening in the world today. I think Spike does a great job of really taking that story of the KKK in the 70s and really tying it into the political landscape that we live in today. Now, he does something at the end of this film that I think can be debatable as far as some of how the film ends, because although I think it is a powerful ending, and I don't want that to take away from the message that he is trying to tell you in this story, but I don't want that ending to be the only thing that people talk about, because I fear that leaving the theater, that's going to be the last thing that people think about, instead of thinking about the last 2 hours that they watched and the story that was being told in BlackKklansman. I'm not going to talk about it here because I don't want to give any spoilers away, but I'm still on the fence about him making that decision for that particular ending. I think it is effective, and I think I know exactly what he was going for, and really trying to tie all that stuff together with the story that he's telling of Ron Stallworth. But yeah, that may be one of the only things that I'm kind of like, but either way, it's effective. It's extremely effective. This is a film that I feel like is a necessary watch, whether you're white, black, brown, yellow. This is a story that involves all of us, and you know, it feels almost like a cautionary tale. We definitely need to understand where we were to see where we are and where we're headed. But I thoroughly enjoyed this film. Some minor criticisms, but outside of that, definitely one of the best films I've seen this year. So definitely check out BlackKklansman, the new Spike Lee joint. But if you've seen the film, let me know what you thought of it in the comments below. Remember to go ahead, rate, like, subscribe, and share, and go and check out my other dorks, at MouthDork, at TheDiscoDork, and at Sidewalk Siren. And as for me, I am the Turtle Dork. And with that, your boy is out.